Bonjour à toutes et à tous, bienvenue to this French channel. It's been a while, you've been learning French on your own, you've started to watch movies in Netflix, you've even started to watch documentaries in YouTube, and who knows, maybe you've already even enrolled in a French institution. But guess what? You are gonna fail in your TEF Canada or TCF Canada examination. But worry not, today I'm here and I'm going to tell you some of the most common mistakes that a lot of students do and how you could avoid doing all these mistakes and give your examination and get it done in one freaking shot. So stay tuned till the end of this video. First of all, let's get straight to the point. The TEF Canada examination or the TCF Canada examination is not your typical school examination. These are examinations which are made in a way to really test out and really make sure that you have a good level of French. If it's not the case, you're definitely going to fail. So right now, let's look into 5 of the major mistakes that each and every student does during their preparation. So the first thing is not knowing the exam format by heart. You should really know what the exam format is. It's not just about knowing French. It's not like, I know French, I'm just going to go in and give this examination. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to have deep understanding about the different sections of this examination and how it is structured and what is it that they're looking out of you as a candidate for this examination. For example, when it comes to the reading part, it's not just about reading very basic sentences, but it's about really having a much deeper understanding of the text that you're going to read. And then furthermore, you should also be very fluent in French when it comes to the speaking part. So we'll see more on this in the upcoming mistakes. The second thing is not practicing listening properly. Why? Because when it comes to listening, I get it. You have Duolingo, Français Facile, etc. But you might be listening to a lot of basic French, which are in a way curated to just French learners. But when it comes to the examination, such as TCF Canada or TEF Canada, you should really focus on the hard ones, which means that you should be quite at ease with varying, as we call in French, débit de parole, varying speeds of speech, and you should also be very sure about the vocabulary and the grammar structure even when you're listening to an audio. So, and again, in the examination is not just the French accent or the Quebecois accent that you're gonna listen to, but you'll have accents of varying types. You might be having someone who's from Belgium, Switzerland, Africa, or even Quebec for that instance. You should be pretty good in listening. The third reason why you are gonna fail this examination because you speak like a beginner. Of course, I get it. French is a really tough language and it's really hard to speak quite like an advanced speaker. But just with beginner French, you definitely cannot clear this examination. It's just undoubted thing because you really have to use a lot of different sentence structures. For example, connecteur logique is absolutely necessary to even surpass the level of B1, which is NCLC, genre 5 or 6. See, so you have to really have a nice hold of the French language. And again, you just can't fake it. A lot of people will say that you could just learn some of the sentence structure to get it right, etc. But end of the day, the examiners of TEF Canada or TCF Canada, they're all trained ones. They exactly know who's faking and who really authentically has that specific level. So yeah, there's another one which really students get it wrong from the getaway. And again, if your oral skills are not good, you definitely have to focus on this. You should really be at ease when you speak the language. You see, I'm emphasizing here, you should definitely be at ease with the language, the same level as how you are at ease when you're speaking your mother tongue or even English for that instance. Mistake number 4, weak writing skills. So some students might just think that, oh, I know to write simple sentences in French. Am I good for the examination? Well, definitely not. This examination really expects you to write complex sentences using complex vocabulary. Unless you get this done, you are definitely going to lose out enormous points in this specific section. Why? Because when you do very basic sentences, of course, you are making yourself understood. That's the whole point with communication in any given language. But when it comes to TEF or TCF Canada examination, you should definitely get into the argumentative part of the language, which is a whole different topic, which I would cover up in a future video. However, just know this, you should be able to write argumentative text. So the thing is, just imagine your real life. You just have someone and you don't know how it works out. You just have to convince the specific person. So in real life, you just go and tell some arguments like trying to convince them. So you have to achieve the same kind of result in written. So that's the whole idea with this. Of course, when it comes to the sentences, you should be pretty strong with the connector logic. It's the most important thing. And again, your sentence structure and the vocabulary that you decide to choose. And again, it's very important to avoid repetition in French language. We hate it. Mistake number 5, studying randomly without a proper and structured strategy. It's not just about going here and there and looking into different books like Edito, Saison, Alter Ego, Cosmopolite, etc. or even watching some random YouTube videos on how to clear this examination, or just yourself spending lots of time just imagining what the exam would be like. Not at all. Unless you have a very structured plan, you are definitely gonna make it with this examination. Well, now that you know why people fail, now let's talk about how you could pass this examination. Well, the first thing to get it right is to know about the French exam format, because it's the most important thing. So when it comes to the exam format, you should be quite familiar with all the time limits, all the types of questions which you might face, and also be well prepared. You see here, there's a big difference between just preparing for the examination and knowing the format. And again, you should be really excelling in it. That's what I tell all my students. So for example, when it comes to the speaking part, you should really prepare yourself extensively up to a point when it's no longer the examiner who's going to tell you that this is done and now you have the next section and this is how it works. You should really know by heart. It should be really an automatic thing. So that you should tell the examiner that, okay, I'm done with this. Let's move on to the next section. You see, I'm speaking about that level of preparation. And again, that brings us to a nice question. Would you run a marathon without knowing the route? Well, here you go. Tip number 2, train your ears for fast French. Well, by fast French, I'm not referring to any kind of rap fast, but what I'm referring to is the normal level of French. Because as a student, maybe, it's just a possibility, maybe you've been just listening to French which is curated for French learners. That's definitely not going to help you with this examination, because when it comes to the listening and all, we show no mercy, because the content that you're going to listen to is coming from everyday life and people speak quite fast. It's very important that you train your ears with proper French content. So some of my personal recommendations would be in your French, which is good. You just have a basic level or maybe an intermediate level in French. But however, as you advance in French language, I would like you to get more into documentaries and a lot of other kind of podcasts. So your aim with these podcasts should not just be someone who's just gonna passively listen to it, but you should feel that you are part of what you are listening to, so that you have this nice engagement with the content that you are listening to. And again, it's also very important to not just see this as just yet another task, but listening to French podcasts should be something which you love to do on a daily basis. So find stuff which really interests you. And again, it's also very important to find people, accents which you prefer the most, because you're going to spend a lot of time with these resources. Tip number 3, improve your speaking with a French speaker, or better, with a French tutor. So it's very important. It's not just like speaking alone which is going to help you progress in French language, because speaking is one of the most important aspects of a given language. When it comes to the TEF Canada examination, you should be quite fluent. You should really be fluent in order to clear this exam. And again, when it comes to the speaking part, it's a very interesting one, because I've had a lot of different student experiences that students have shared with me. Because some students, they're just like frozen. They freeze the moment they have to speak in French. And others, the moment they find that, maybe with a certain subject I'm just not that familiar with, they really start to go very, very wrong. Things start going west. Things just don't work for them. So that's why it's very important that you practice from the beginning. And again, another thing is, when you practice with a French speaker or a tutor, the thing is you get live feedback. That really helps, because it's just this by doing an expose yourself when you're at your home and you speaking for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that's not gonna help. You should get live feedback. By live feedback, what do I refer to? Well, when you're speaking with someone, you could see the live reaction if this person is able to understand you or not. If they're not understanding, you can immediately change the way you're narrating your thing, for example. And it's one of the most important. Tip number 4, get some structure into your French language. Let it be speaking or writing, you definitely have to have some level of structure, unless it's just gonna work, because French is a language which is really structured. And again, we as individuals, we have a lot of different ideas which we wish to express to other people, but the best way to do it is in a very structured way. I'm referring to les connecteurs logiques. It's very important for you. You should learn 10 of them, and you should be able to use them at the right moment, or else it's just gonna be catastrophic. You have to know where to use which connecteur logique and how the flow of ideas is gonna happen. Because when you're expressing your ideas, let's say for example in your TCF Canada, maybe section B or tâche numéro 3, for example, and even you express your section B in your TEF Canada examination, it's not just about you giving out your ideas to the examiner, but it's about you making yourself understood. So just for a moment, put yourself in the situation of your examiner. Just look into things from a different perspective. Would you be able to understand yourself if you're on the other end? I guess it's quite challenging, isn't it? You're unsure if they'll be understanding you or not. That's why it's very important to use the connecteur logique. Make use of it and really help facilitate your examiner to understand you much better. So at the end of the day, it should be one of the least things which should happen, which should really bother the examiner, understanding you and asking you to repeat what you've just said. So finally, tip number 5, follow a freaking study plan. It's undeniable. You should definitely have a nice study plan which really helps you to focus on your weak areas. If it is listening which is really problematic for you, then spend a lot of time with podcast and doing a lot of delf listening exercises, for example. If it's speaking which is bothering you, just go out there and find someone to speak the language. So end of the day, you should definitely focus on all of your weak areas and in a way convert these weak areas into your advantages or into your good points. Et voila, that's it. I hope that this video was helpful for you and you were able to learn something out of it. And if you wish to have more and more nice resources just like this, I'm speaking about resources of quality which really help you boost your French language journey so that you could get your French test done or even your Canadian PR done very, very quickly. So with that, I'm not gonna ask you to click that bell icon or like this video and all. You know where to find this video. You just have to come back here. You'll watch this. And I'm not gonna ask you to do all these things, click the bell icon and stuff. But what I'm gonna ask you to do is just go and start working on your French examination. Start your preparation, get a nice strategy. And if you wish to have any kind of assistance, just comment down below and I'm here for you. À la prochaine les gars. Ciao.